The Senior Bowl is a great week for football fans and especially NFL draft fans. It gives us all a chance to see some under-the-radar prospects from smaller schools or even D2 players that may not necessarily get the love they deserve. And that is what we're going to be doing today. New Hampshire running back Dylan Laube is a guy who has statistically been unbelievable for the Wildcats, but hasn't gotten a ton of love due to not playing against elite competition. Where does he ultimately get selected? That is something we're going to be discussing in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Leave a comment and let me know which players you would like to see me do next. It's Senior Bowl Super Week, so I'm going to be doing 3 videos a day all week. So be sure to stay tuned for the rest of the week to see what I have to say about other prospects. But without further ado, let's get into it. Laube has been absolutely dominant in his career at New Hampshire, an FCS player who has dominated against lesser competition. In 2022, Laube had 1,205 yards as well as 15 touchdowns on the ground. In 2023, Laube did miss 2 games on the season, but he finished the year with 745 yards and 9 touchdowns rushing. He is a guy who has been incredibly productive, and he has a lot of interesting potential at the running back position. Laube is an incredibly strong runner. He runs with a lot of power, and he puts his head down, and he has the ability to just run guys over. He is 5'10", 208 pounds, and he has a really big frame for the running back position. He might not be the tallest, but he has a really strong build, and he is an incredibly strong runner, and it is one of his best traits. Another thing I'm really impressed with is Laube's footwork. He's incredibly patient, and he's a smart runner. He has good footwork in the backfield, and he has some very nice jukes, and he had the ability to jump outside on occasion and take the top off the defense. When you mix in his patience and his jump cuts, his jukes with his power, it makes him a very hard player to tackle in the open field. He is extremely balanced, and there's quite a bit of things that you love about him as a runner. Laube is also a very solid receiving back. In 2023, he had 68 receptions for 699 yards. In 2022, he had 49 receptions. Those are better numbers than some of the top receivers in this class. He is a very versatile back. He has very reliable hands, and he was not just used on screens or passes out to the flat. He had the ability to line up wide, line up in the slot, and he was used in a lot of different ways in the Wildcats offense. He showcased his route running abilities, and that's something that I was really intrigued about. There are a couple of areas of Laube's game that is a bit concerning. For one, he is an older running back, and we know running backs have shorter lifespans in the NFL. His freshman season was in 2019. He's going to have a lot of mileage on him, as well as being an older running back prospect. It's not something that you love to see, especially at the running back position. He's already 23 years old, so it is something that may push him down the board a bit. Laube also doesn't have incredible speed. He is a patient runner, and he's a strong runner, but his speed itself is not incredible on tape. He is rumored to run between a 4.46 and a 4.55, which is not necessarily ideal for a running back. Lastly, Dylan Laube is a guy who has been playing against FCS competition. With his age and really not showing his potential against much NFL talent at all, it is something that I do want to take note of. He has a lot of the traits that you love to see, and he's got the intangibles, but can he do it against elite competition? Laube is still an interesting player. He has some really good footwork, but he also has some really nice hands as a running back. I think he has some really nice potential, but I ultimately don't think his ceiling is super high. He is my RB15 in the class. It's not an incredible running back class, but I am worried about him a bit in terms of his lack of competition, his speed, his age, and there are a lot of factors that go into it that don't exactly have me the highest on him. He is my number 176 player in the 2024 draft. I think Laube may be best used as a straight line runner and a receiving back. I think in a pass heavy offense, he may be best utilized. He has a lot of potential and has been super productive as a receiving back, and he's shown his ability to put his head down and just run guys over. I think he could be used best in this situation, and this is how you're going to get the most out of him. My comparison for Dylan Laube is Austin Ekeler. Ekeler is a guy who isn't the fastest player in the world, but he is a very strong and a very patient runner, who has also been one of the best receiving backs in the NFL over the last few seasons. Similarly to Laube, Ekeler went to a very small school and wasn't highly recruited, didn't play against elite competition, but he came to the NFL, he worked hard, he put his head down, and he had the ability to just run guys over, and he was a great receiver. All of which I think Dylan Laube has a lot of the same tools. They have very similar weight combinations and size as well, and I see a lot of similarities in the two, so that is my comparison. Dylan Laube has been one of the best players in the FCS. He has been incredibly productive, but there are some legitimate concerns with him. I think he is going to get drafted, but not until later. Ultimately, I believe Dylan Laube will be picked between the 5th and 6th rounds in the 2024 NFL Draft.